Welcome to today's episode of Colorado Films, the podcast. I'm lucky and fortunate to be joined by Kathy Beck. She's an international businesswoman, filmmaker, producer, and co-founder of the Boulder International Film Festival, one of the most celebrated film festivals in the country and cornerstone of Colorado's cultural scene. But long before BIFF, turning BIFF into what it is today, Kathy's love of film started in a much more hands-on way. Growing up working in her family's movie theaters alongside her sister, Robin, they weren't just watching films. They were threading projectors, selling popcorn, and learning firsthand what it means to create a movie-going experience. That early immersion in cinema eventually turned into a lifelong career in storytelling, producing, documentaries, and developing a connection to the power of film. Not just as an environment, but as a way to bring people together. In 2005, Kathy and Robin took that passion and asked a simple question. Why doesn't Boulder have its own world-class film festival? The answer became BIFF, a festival that now draws thousands of attendees, showcases hundreds of films, and creates a space where filmmakers, audiences, and ideas collide. Today, Kathy continues to champion independent film and community-driven storytelling, helping not just shape the festival, but the cultural institution. Kathy, thank you for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. I'll just say one thing.
Okay.
It was a really nice entry there. I appreciate that. They weren't our family's movie theaters.
Okay.
They were the theaters in Boulder.
Oh, okay.
Boulder used to have so many great,
Yeah.
we had 8 or 10 theaters, and Robin and I worked in those
Okay.
during high school and learned everything you said. We served popcorn, we sold tickets, we learned, a real love of film there. So I appreciate you mentioning that.
Yeah, no, it's you are a cultural institution, you and your sister, and this is, Boulder would not have Sundance without you, and so
Nice.
this brings
Thank
people
you,
here.
Corey.
Thank you, and I know I volunteered with my father in the early days. He's now just a ski bum. He got a house up there. He's like, that was an excuse for not helping me cover. He's like, I got to ski. It's a bad season already.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
So, long before you started BIFF, what pulled you into storytelling and the movies? Why in your youth did you decide to work at our movie theaters here in Boulder?
Well, I've always loved movies. And when we were in high school looking for jobs that, you just want a job that'll pay you a little bit of money. And, loved movies. So we thought, that sounds like a pretty good deal. You get to go work in the theater. You get free movies all over town, not just at the theater you're working. And you get all these fun midnight movies when there's a big premiere coming. You get to see it at midnight the night before, and with everybody from all the theaters all over town. It was just so much fun. We just loved it. And there were so many fabulous movies, and it really fostered even more a sense of the love of film for us.
Nice. What is? I know mine is probably either Spaceballs or no, I forget the name. What's your favorite midnight movie? I'll think of it in a sec.
Midnight movie. My favorite one, thinking back, was probably Aliens,
Okay.
the very first one.
Yeah.
That's dating me a little bit, but wow. I had no expectation going in, and as we all know, what an incredible movie, and I'll never forget it, sitting in that auditorium with all those people, and all of us gasping at the same time and screaming, and it was just a great experience.
Nice. And it has a very strong heroine in that movie as well, and Sigourney Weaver.
Yes.
That's that's the prototype for
Yes.
what a female heroine would be in a
Yes.
movie. I think, at least.
Yes.
And so when growing up, you were basically popcorn girls. How did that expose you to actual film? When was that point? Was it young because you kind of went my way too. After I graduated college, instead of going to cinema, I went to international relations. And so what was the point in your life where you're like, okay, I've done this, or I want to do film?
Well, my sister Robin had an interest in film. My dad bought a video camera so long ago, and she picked it up and started experimenting a little bit with it, and then thought, it'd be fun to make a little movie. She entered a competition with the band U2 that they had in Denver because they were going to play a concert. I don't remember where it was. It might have been at Mile High at the time. And they were going to show this video at their concert, and Robin entered that, and there were just hundreds and hundreds of entries, and she came in was it third, I think. So they didn't show her film, but she came in really high, and it was like, okay, maybe I have something here. Nice. So she started looking for stories, and her first one that she turned into a short film was about a rookie musher doing the Iditarod, and I was living up in Alaska, and she said, are there any interesting stories? We were gonna interview the women mushers that year, and we couldn't connect with them for some reason, but there was some other great stories. There was the story of a real back of the pack musher. I mean, just didn't have any sponsors, no money. He was going to try it anyway. His name was Tim Triumph. And so she said, why don't we do a story about him? And we did. It was a 10-minute film, just a short one, but the story was incredible. One thing about our movies that we made, we didn't have a really high production value, so they weren't slick. We like to joke that we perfected the Blair Witch shaky camera thing just because we didn't have a tripod even on some of these shoots. But that film ended up doing really well. It was called Dead Last, A Tale of Triumph. And this guy, sometimes it's just, you just get lucky. The story was incredible. He decided to run, didn't have any money, was back of the pack, he was last. But then a huge storm came in way up a couple hundred miles before Nome, and a couple of mushers were lost, and he found them and helped them get across the finish line. And so sometimes you just get the story. It's all about the story. Oh yeah. So anyway, that film ended up, we submitted it. We got in Telluride Mountain Film, which we love to this day, and she won like Best New Filmmaker on this 10-minute short. Nice. So anyway, that kind of launched everything. So.
And out of those films, or out of the films you have done and are doing with your sister, they're all each memorable in their own way. What are some of the memories that you've got from those? Like this one of going from we have no film to we have the best film. Yeah.
Well, a fun one that we did was about the frozen dead body on ice up in Netherlands. A lot of people in this area know that story. Yeah. And, we said, we were looking for a story having margaritas, and we looked up in the mountains and said, let's do one about that dead body on ice up in Netherlands. And you never know what you're going to get into, That's the thing about documentary filmmaking. You can't write the script in advance and then go shoot it. That doesn't work like that. You just start and you hope that there's a good story. What we learned on that one was that the story ended up not being about Trygve Bauge, who was the Norwegian that put his grandfather on ice up there. We sure followed that, but it became about the town of Nederland and their reaction to this, and their philosophies and their thoughts about this whole incident. And so that's when you go, okay, this is about that. That's okay, that's great. And that just turned into a really fun project that we also took. Both of those films went on the world tours of Banff. And certainly played up in Banff and all over. And it was great that, like I said, we didn't have a really high production value, but the story was unbelievable and we told it really well. So those are certainly key elements to getting in all those festivals. So we had a good time.
Nice. And do you think, being a local Boulder boy, do you think the attitudes up in Netherlands have changed from the time you made that
I hope not.
That's the right answer.
Yeah, that's great. Netherlands is such a great town. I just love Netherlands, so I hope they haven't changed much.
Me too. There's a great story about you saying when there isn't a why isn't there a film festival in Boulder? Could you walk me through that moment after you came back? And
Sure. Well, we started going to all these festivals with these films, and it was fun. We even went overseas, and we just had such a good time. You know, festivals are fun, obviously, but you meet a lot of great filmmakers. You see the best films, and we thought, this is great. And here we had lived in Boulder. We moved to Boulder in the 70s.
Okay.
And so we've been here a long time, and certainly love Boulder, and thought, you know, Boulder is the perfect place for a film festival like this. And Robin kept saying, someone will start it, someone will start one. And then years went by, and she finally said, you know what, let's start that film festival. And I was like, okay, you know, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
It's not that easy just to start a film festival. But we said, okay, let's do it. And certainly with many helpers and many volunteers to this day, we get 500 volunteers at every BIF, but also with the support of the community and the sponsors and the corporate donors and the city and everybody. You know, it takes a village to get this thing going, and we've certainly had that over the many years. So we're glad we did.
And I am too. I know. I'm pretty sure. I'm not sure the sequence, but I'm pretty sure my dad met his partner at Biff. Corla Davis.
Carla, that name sounds really familiar, but I think I did hear that story.
Yeah.
So, and you know what? They are not the first.
Yeah,
There are a lot of people who said they met volunteering for Biff, and I love that.
Yeah.
That's fun.
So if you want an organic way to meet people, check out Biff. Don't have to go on the internet.
That's so true. Good point.
What made I mean, obviously you're from here and you saw that, so it just felt natural after that time. I understand, you know, Robin's idea, because like I said with Colorado Films, I had it for 6-7 years where I'm like, should probably do something with that. And so did you ever think of anywhere else, or was it always we just needed it in Boulder?
No, we just, you know, like I said, we went to high school. Robin went to even middle school here, and there'd be no reason to go somewhere else. This is the place to do it.
Yep.
And with the Pearl Street Mall and everything that could be, see, what we did is we had gone to all these festivals all over, and we just took the best elements from all of those that we liked and put them into this festival. And one of the elements, for example, was having everything be as close to walking distance as you could, and not spread out over the whole city. That's one thing. Another thing was up in Banff, we had a liaison that was assigned to us that took us around that whole weekend and made sure that we got to our screening and told us where the parties were and told us, you know, what the big events and the best films were and all that. And so we've done that since year one. We've had every filmmaker that comes in gets assigned a liaison. And so we just took all those elements and put them into, you know, to this festival. But certainly with the setting and the Pearl Street Mall and all the great restaurants and all the great hotels and everything there, it's the best place for a film festival.
Nice. Starting a festival from scratch, like you said, isn't just show up, here's a film festival. What did you underestimate the most in those first couple years? And what did you overestimate as well?
Boy, that's a challenging question. It was so long ago. But I don't know. I don't know about overestimating or underestimating. You know, certainly the planning, you know, is just more than I think people understand. Just making sure that everything is planned right well before the festival makes a big difference. And that very first festival, I would say, underestimated the amount of people that would show up. We were going to just do let's just do this. We'll see if anybody comes. If they don't come, maybe we'll think about it and rethink it, or I don't know, let's just do it. And, you know, we had like 5,000 people that first year, and we were stunned, you know, about that, because we really expected a much smaller amount. But especially when, you know, you haven't had one yet, and there aren't big advertising budgets. It's not like we were taking out ads in all the paper. We weren't doing that because it was real grassroots. So we were thrilled. And after that very first one, we said, okay, I think we can build on this, and so that was really nice.
Nice. How has being a filmmaker yourself shaped the way you run a film festival?
Well, one way I was just kind of discussing it is that, we've often been called a Filmmakers Film Festival, and that's because we were filmmakers at other festivals, we know how we want to be treated, basically.
Okay.
And, we know, there's so many levels of where your film shows or just everything from even the liaisons that we had, and I was talking about that element. There's some film festivals that are just ideal, and they really treat filmmakers well, and we, a lot of them do, I would say most of them, but we really wanted to emphasize that because an important element of putting on a festival is having these filmmakers not only come, but come back year after year, and you build relationships over the many years. Yeah. And that's a great way to get films is contacting them, hey, what you working on? Yeah. And or having them contact you, which is probably even more likely. Hey, I've got this new project, I want to come back to Biff. That's ideal. That's wonderful, because you get these returning filmmakers that come back over and over again with their fabulous projects. So nice. It's great.
And how do you screen, how do you select your program for Biff?
Sure, a lot of different ways. There are, I would say, 3 or 4 main ways that we get films. One is we have a entry process, of course, and get a lot of submissions through that. And then with that, we have a team of, I don't know if it's 12-ish selection committee members that go through those films, because there can be up to 1,500 of those, and so we need people to go through them, and we do more than one person looks at all the films, sometimes 3 or 4 people, just because you want to make sure and vet it as best you can. Mm-hmm. As filmmakers ourselves, we think it's important to have a really great process for vetting the films, and one with a lot of integrity, because we think it's so important. So a lot of the selection committee, they all watch a lot of films, and then we have the next tier up. If they send it up to the next tier, then there's a smaller group that will watch it, and then that group sends it up to one last tier, and then that's just a very few people, including Robin, of course, and myself, and just for one final look and go, yeah, that's great. So that's that selection process from submissions. But we also go to film festivals, and it's sometimes really beneficial to see a film in an audience, to see what the reaction is, and also just to scout films that way, to see some great films. We've got some great films from other festivals right in our program this year, and that's one way. Another way is what I just mentioned about contacting the filmmakers that have been here before. What have you got? But it's also, another way is researching what's out there on the circuit. You can't go to every film festival. And so you research what is out there, what's winning awards at other film festivals, and what's catching people's eye, or what's a buzz. And then you invite those films. So there's 4 ways that you get films right there.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when you look at it, that final touch, do you have enough trust? Obviously you have enough trust, but do you have, with the technical aspect, would you be grading, okay, this is not as technical as we want, or is it more on the storytelling side, because it's made it through those kind of levels? It might not be the most technically beautiful film like you guys have had, but it's that story. Is it the story 100%, or would it, not 100%, but is it the story the main push, or is it, yes, this is not a great story, but technically and artistically it's an amazing piece of art? How do you balance that?
Good question. It's the story.
It's the story?
There's no doubt. Okay. It's the story. And you can have a really nice, slick film that's really well produced, and the story isn't there, so that's just not going to get in, you know. But it's more likely that a great story told well, but with some, not that slick, is going to get in.
Okay.
It's all about the story. It just is. This is about great storytelling, and we go through a lot of film, 2,000, over 2,000 films each year, looking for those great stories. And it's not just a great story, but it's told well. You have to tell that story well. And as a documentary filmmaker, for example, you can have a great story, but it can be a bad film about a great story. So it has to be told well, but it has to be a great story, because that's what's going to send it up the line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. You now review. The festival has programs, speaking of storytelling, like call to action, youth initiatives, and community outreach. Why is that important for the start of it? And when did that start? Because I think 2015 or 16, what started the children or the youth storytelling?
Yeah.
The call to action?
Actually, I think those both started a little before that.
Okay.
They didn't start at the year one just because
Yeah.
we were trying to pull off showing some films.
Yeah.
Not worrying too much about a call to action program, when we just wanted to make sure we could get in some venues and show some films. So that took a little while, but we've done them both now for many, many years. And we just think it's important because, for the youth programs, for example, those are the next generation of filmmakers. Those are the next generation of attendees. And so we want to involve them from the get-go, and that's why we have a teen short film competition. We have a big sort of opening night with this competition for the teens, which is fabulous. We get films from all over the world now for that.
Nice.
From teens all over the world. And that's one thing. And another is we do free workshops for students.
Okay.
Others can attend as well. But it's free for students, and we just have fantastic workshops this year. We have Harrison Query,
Okay.
who is from Boulder, Boulder native, and he is a huge screenwriter
Okay.
in Hollywood now,
Nice.
and it's amazing. So what a great, people are going to want to hear what he has to say. I mean, he's developing projects with Netflix and HBO Max, I think, and I mean, just the big. He's great,
Nice.
and we're going to be happy to feature him this year at our workshop. We also have a couple of folks from the Sundance Institute coming that are going to talk about their institute and how young people can get involved there. That'll be a fabulous workshop. We have an Oscar-nominated local filmmaker, Olivia Ahneman, and also Daniel Wright, who they have partnered on many projects with, and they're putting a panel of filmmakers together. So
Okay.
that's going to be fabulous. So our workshops are great. We show free films for students, some select films that are listed in the program on our youth page for students. We also bring some films into schools prior to the festival. So we really do a lot in terms of getting those younger people and students involved in the festival. Our call to action program that you mentioned also, we love that program because you don't want to watch a film that is really moving and it's about an issue that is really an issue in the world, and then just leave and don't know what you can do about it. So I've used to attend a lot of festivals where I'd walk out and go, that's terrible that that's happening. I wonder what I can do about it. You don't.
Yeah.
We want to solve that issue. Here's what you can do about it. So Boulder is a real activist community, and we love that. We've loved that about living here for many, many years. And so the Call to Action program, we partner with nonprofit organizations in the area that work on the issues that our Call to Action films are highlighting. So that might be an environmental issue, that might be racism issue. It might be, one year we had one on gang violence, and that was great. So we select about 10 or 12 films each year that have an issue that people can do things on, and whether that's volunteering or helping with a writing campaign, or I don't know what it is, but we'll have that nonprofit introduce the film, which is great because they get to tell the whole audience about their organization.
Yeah.
And then afterwards, there's a panel discussion about what people can do get involved. And
Nice.
we really believe in the power of film to change the world.
Yeah.
And so that is what the Call to Action program does. And it helps people go, I can do that. That's great. I'm gonna make a difference, and then we list the 5 action items on our website. So our Call to Action program is we're really proud of that.
Nice. Would you like to mention if you can think off the top of your head, some of the NGOs you're working with this year?
Yeah, good question. We just went to print on our program, so they maybe aren't ingrained into my brain yet, but we have got some great organizations that are coming in. We have a film about glaciers, and it is a freaking fantastic film. It's not just about glaciers, but it's very artistic, and done with such heart. It's kind of a story of one man's family and their relationship to the glaciers, and we're working with 350 Colorado on that. We have got a film about Amy Goodman from Democracy Now! And we're working with KGNU on that.
Nice.
We have we have a film, and people might look at this and go, not sure what I think about that one, but it is about a man who is dying of cancer because he didn't get a colonoscopy. And it's called Andre is an Idiot. And he is really a funny philosophical guy. The film is incredible, and it's his story from finding out about this and how he goes about getting to the end of his life, but it's uplifting and funny, and I love it. And we're working with True Community Care and Boulder Community Health on that film. So just a lot. We have a film called Snow Leopard Sisters about the endangered snow leopards over in Tibet, and we're working with Bosk on that. So the list goes on, and people should check it out. But
do you want to hold that up?
Sure.
We'll put it up.
Yes.
Put a link. Boulder Film Fest. There's the print version. It's online too.
Yes.
Can you share a moment, or your first moment, or a memorable moment where this community and this helping of the 501c3s and NGOs made an impact that you saw and were like, holy cow, we helped that? Yeah,
we had a film. This is really going to challenge my memory a little bit, but it was about Native American rights, and it was about a pair of sisters that were elderly, but they were still fighting for their rights to land, and it was really a big issue against the federal government, and just such a moving and heartwarming story. And somebody in the audience saw their Q&A, and it was actually Chevy Chase's wife, Janie. And she donated, I think, $5,000 on the spot to help these women. And we talked to them later, and they had said that they had to do a lot of traveling back to DC in lawsuits and things, and that money really made a difference on that. So we were so happy to hear that. Another story was about vets. We had a story about veterans one year, and somebody from the city, it might have been the mayor at the time, saw the film and then decided that the rec centers in town would offer free rec center membership to veterans. And this was quite a few years back too, but just that makes a difference in people's lives. And so that's a couple examples of how we think that the Call to Action program has impacted people's lives.
I've heard that through Colorado Environmental Film Festival up at ACT. They're all like, you're gonna see some really heavy stuff, and you need to have a way forward, or it's kind of lost in there. Like,
sure,
what do I do now? And
absolutely,
it's hard, and so that's an amazing thing to see.
Yes.
What do you think filmmakers today misunderstand about the festival atmosphere, or something that you see kind of, they spread themselves too thin by applying to every film festival, or?
Well, they can't apply to every film festival. There's too many, and it's too expensive. But as far as what they miss, or
something that you could see that could help their impact or help their film?
Well, okay, like tips or something like
Yeah.
that. Sure. I mean, the biggest thing that we see, without a doubt, is that films are too long.
Yeah.
And to be honest, a 10-minute film can be too long if it's told if it's not told well. So that's the biggest thing we see. That we get a lot of films that they're just too long. And it can be a feature that's an hour and 45 minutes to 2 hours. Well, the time slots at a festival, you know, it goes back to what your goal is when you're making the film.
Mm-hmm.
If your goal isn't to go to festivals, that's fine. You know, maybe you have a specific goal and you need a specific length for that goal, and that's great. If your goal is to go to festivals, it'll be rare that we're going to show a film that's 2 hours. So it's going to have to be, or more.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be the best dang film that we have seen all year. Now, you can also make a 30-minute film that's too long, and that can be a little awkward length for film festivals, or 45 minutes, because you have to pair it with things that may not fit exactly. I mean, you're going to have a hard time finding what to pair it with.
Yeah.
It can be done, and we've done it. We've done it many times. It just makes it more challenging from the film festival perspective to figure out what to pair with something.
Okay. And do you think that's mark of the film itself or the society around it, where before, you know, most films would be an hour and a half if it was at a standard theater back in the 90s. You had an hour and a half film. Now I can watch on Netflix, I can, you know, watch just a quick reel of the highlights of it. Do you think society has made it that way, or the...
You know, that's a good question, because I'm not really sure. Films did used to be shorter. Now they're really long, and I'm not sure I understand that, especially with this, you know, generation of lower attention spans. I prefer the traditional sort of 90-minute or, you know, film much to a 2.5-hour film, but I've seen a lot of films that are long and they're really great. So I don't know. I feel like that films have gotten to be too long, but if it's done really well, that can be okay.
Okay.
And you know, I'm running out of time, Corey.
Okay.
So I'm going to have to get going. But I feel like I would like to talk about a few other things.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Whatever you want.
Okay. Another thing that we're really excited about this year is our Adventure Film Pavilion.
Okay.
We started this about 5 or 6 years ago, and it's showing adventure films, which is Boulder's a big community for that, obviously. We started BIFF at the same time that the Boulder Adventure Film Festival started, and you know, we loved working with Johnny Kopp for many, many years. We both sort of started at the same time, and the Boulder Adventure Film community is great, and we didn't really show a lot of adventure films because they were doing that, and but we loved having them in town, and it was such a great festival. Johnny, of course, passed away in an avalanche over in China, and then the festival went on, and they were still a fantastic festival, but they eventually ended up going away. And when there was that void, we decided to start the Adventure Film Festival, or the Adventure Film Program, I'm sorry, within BIFF. And it's kind of like a festival within a festival, but we've just had so many great filmmakers and film subjects in that over the years. And this year we have some exciting stuff. We've got Sender Films. They have done a 4-part episodic series called The Dark Wizard. That is going to be opening on HBO in mid-April or later. So it'll be after the festival this year, but we're showing all 4 episodes of that at the Adventure Film Pavilion, and it's about a fascinating guy named Dean Potter, who was a rock climber, a wingsuiter, a highliner, and so many things. And Sender Films is always great. That's the people who do real rock every year. So I knew it would be fantastic just because they're always that good. This is unbelievable. So I recommend that for folks. But we also have a film about Emily Harrington, who grew up here as well, and she's a rock star, rock climber, and it's called Girl Climber, and it is fantastic. So we're excited to be screening that, and just so many other. I've referenced one or two: Snow Leopard Sisters, Time and Water, about the glaciers. There's a lot to see over there, and that's going to be a fantastic lineup, so I encourage people to go check that out. We have a great opening night this year. It is a film called Tuner with Dustin Hoffman and Leo Woodall, and it is fantastic. It's the perfect opening night film. We're so thrilled we were able to get it. So that's opening night's always a big party. It's two parties actually, and then the film. So that's fun. We have a special guest this year that the Hollywood Reporter's Scott Feinberg is going to interview. He comes every year and interviews somebody, a celebrity guest, and for his podcast. And so he does sort of this live interview for his podcast at the Boulder Theater, and that person is Alec Baldwin this year. So Scott's going to be interviewing Alec. He's been to the festival before. This year we have a film called The Trial of Alec Baldwin by Rory Kennedy. And so Alec is going to come and do Scott's podcast at the Boulder Theater one night. We have got a great closing night it's a documentary about a performance of Godspell in the 70s in Toronto. Not a performance, but a run at a local theater, and it had so many unbelievable people in it that hadn't done anything yet. It was Martin Short and Catherine O'Hara and Eugene Levy and Gilda Radner and more. And they were all in this production of Godspell in the 70s.
Holy cow.
It is an amazing documentary that just warms your heart to watch it and tell the story behind how did all these unbelievably talented people, these people all set up, SCTV, and that kind of
Schitt's Creek, like it's.
These are the forerunner. This was the first time they were all sort of doing something, and it is a fabulous story. So that's closing night. We're really looking forward to that as well. So lots of parties. I could go on and on about the parties. Just look at the program. They're all listed in here. Actually, we have a really fun Saturday night party this year at the Oddfellows Hall. And that's going to be, we call it the Biff After Dark party, bad party. So I recommend that one. I think 3 bands or 2 bands and a DJ, and just lots of dancing and lots of fun. That's Saturday night, but a lot of other parties too. So we have a lot of great things going on at the festival this year, and I just encourage everybody to check it out because there's going to be something for everybody.
Nice. I could stay all day and talk with you about this, Kathy, but I know you're a busy woman, and I get you during the high times of movement. So
it's the best time to get the word out. So that's great.
Get the word out. Check out Biff. It's been here. It's an institution, and we'll see you in April.
Thank you, Corey.
All right. Yeah. So I'll chop this up and send it to you guys. I might. So this week is what's this week? Dragon Boat